High in the dense rainforests of Central America, beneath a canopy of green, lie the silent ruins of grand stone cities, overgrown, mysterious, and hauntingly beautiful. These are the remnants of one of the greatest ancient civilizations the world has ever known, the Maya. Stretching across modern-day Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador, the Maya built a culture of extraordinary depth, one that flourished for over 2,000 years. They mastered astronomy, created complex calendars, built enormous temples, and left behind one of the most sophisticated writing systems of the ancient world. Today, we journey through time to uncover who the Maya were, their origins, their rise, their brilliance, and ultimately, their decline. The birth of the Maya civilization. Our story begins over 3,000 years ago. Sometime around 2000 BCE, small agricultural communities began to appear across the Yucatan Peninsula and the highlands of Guatemala. These early people weren't yet builders of cities, but slowly, steadily, they started to organize. Villages became towns. Religion and trade connected scattered groups, and together they laid the foundations of what we now call the pre-classic Maya period. By 1000 BCE, villages like Nakbe and El Mirador were already rising, complete with temples and causeways. The people who built them weren't primitive farmers anymore. They were engineers, artisans, and astronomers. From these beginnings, the seeds of a great civilization took root. Part 2. Kings, Gods, and the Universe, the Maya worldview. For the Maya, the line between the natural and supernatural worlds was thin, almost transparent. Every event, from the planting of corn to the motion of the stars, was an act entwined with divine forces. The Maya believed the universe had 3 levels: the heavens above, the mortal world in the middle, and the underworld, known as Xibalba, below. The gods ruled these realms, and humans lived to serve and sustain them. The kings, or Ajawab, were seen as mediators between the gods and their people. When they performed rituals, made offerings, or bled in sacrifice, they weren't just demonstrating devotion, they were ensuring the balance of the entire cosmos. Religion was everywhere, carved into stone stelae, painted on pottery, and written into the stars above. By around 250 CE, something extraordinary began to happen. Across the Maya lands, great cities rose from the jungles: Tikal, Palenque, Copan, Calakmul, and many more. This era, known as the Classic Period, would mark the height of Maya civilization. The cities were sprawling networks of temples, plazas, ball courts, and palaces. In the heart of each city stood towering pyramids, built not as tombs like in Egypt, but as sacred stairways to the heavens. The architecture wasn't just grand, it was symbolic, mapping out their cosmology in stone. The Maya mastered art and architecture. They carved intricate stelae depicting kings and warriors, telling stories of battles and bloodlines. Their pottery was richly painted with scenes of court life and myth. And behind the grandeur was intelligence, a deep understanding of mathematics and astronomy. Using a vigesimal, base 20 number system, they could calculate vast spans of time. Their calendar, built upon cycles known as the Tzolk'in and the Hab, was breathtakingly precise, even more accurate than the Gregorian calendar used today. They tracked the movements of Venus, predicted eclipses, and aligned their temples with the stars. For them, time wasn't linear, but cyclical, a repeating dance of creation and destruction. Part 4. Life in the Maya World. Despite the monumental cities, most Maya weren't kings or priests. They were farmers, craftspeople, builders, and traders. Life revolved around family, community, and the planting seasons. The staple of Maya life was maize. So essential was corn to their identity that they believed humans themselves were made from maize in their sacred text, the Popol Vuh, the great epic of Maya creation. Villages were clusters of thatched houses surrounded by fields called milpas. Families worked together, weaving textiles, making pottery, and gathering forest resources. Trade connected the Maya world. From the highlands came obsidian and jade. From the lowlands, cacao and feathers. Rivers and coastal routes linked distant cities, turning the region into an intricate web of commerce and culture. Part 5. Writing and Knowledge, the Maya Script. The Maya possessed one of the most advanced writing systems in the ancient world, a blend of pictorial and syllabic glyphs used to record everything from royal histories to astronomical data. For centuries, these hieroglyphs remained an unbroken mystery. Spanish colonists had burned the codices, sacred books written on bark paper, seeing them as idolatrous and heretical. Only a handful survived the conquest. It wasn't until the 20th century that scholars like Tatiana Proskyryakov began to decipher their secrets. What they found astonished the world. The glyphs weren't just sacred symbols, but a living language, vividly chronicling births, victories, alliances, and dynasties. Through their inscriptions, the Maya kings speak again, their voices echoing across 13 centuries. Part 6. The Mysterious Collapse. Yet, for all their brilliance, the Maya cities of the southern lowlands began to decline around 800 CE. Within a century, once thriving centers like Tikal and Copan had fallen silent. Temples were abandoned. The great stelae ceased to be carved. What happened? Scholars debate to this day. Some point to environmental collapse, deforestation, drought, and soil exhaustion. Others suggest internal warfare, revolts, or the breakdown of the divine kingship system. Perhaps it was not one cause, but many, converging at once, a perfect storm of political, environmental, and cultural crises. But the Maya did not vanish. The civilization transformed, shifting northward to cities like Chichen Itza and Uxmal, which flourished long after the southern cities fell. The post-classic period saw the rise of powerful new centers of influence. Chichen Itza became a cosmopolitan hub, blending Maya and Toltec traditions. Its temple of Kukulkan, with its precise equinox alignment, remains one of the most studied monuments in Mesoamerica. Elsewhere, cities like Mayapan and Tulum became important coastal trade centers, linking the Yucatan to the Caribbean. But in the early 1500s, a new power appeared on the shores, the Spanish. By then, Maya cities were weakened by internal divisions. The Spanish, armed with steel and disease, exploited these fractures. The conquest was brutal and drawn out, far longer than the fall of the Aztec Empire. The last independent Maya city, Nochpeten, would not fall until 1697. Part 8. The Living Maya, Legacy and Modern Identity. The Maya people never disappeared. Today, millions of their descendants still live across Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and Honduras. They continue to speak Maya languages, maintain ancestral traditions, and honor the cycles of the calendar. Many still perform rituals that blend ancient beliefs with new faiths, a living bridge between past and present. Archaeologists, linguists, and Maya communities now work together to reclaim this knowledge and preserve their heritage. It is a story not of extinction, but of endurance. Remembering the Maya. The Maya civilization stands as one of humanity's great cultural achievements. Their monuments still pierce the jungle canopy. Their mathematics, art, and astronomy continue to inspire awe. They looked to the heavens and saw not chaos, but rhythm, patterns of gods, stars, and time itself. Perhaps that is their truest legacy, to remind us that history, like the Maya calendar, moves in cycles: creation, destruction, and renewal. So when we stand today among their temples, beneath the same stars they once charted, we are not just visitors to ruins, we are witnesses to an eternal story. One that began thousands of years ago, and in many ways has never truly ended.